every cart he returns he earns a coin. 3 coins could buy a hamburger. And Victor ate like a starving man. It was the first full meal he'd had since he'd been stuck at the airport for days. So next thing he knew, he was collecting carts for money. When he saw a kid hogging a cart, he'd just drop it and give him a pat on the head. Soon he's got a whole line of carts with coins popping out of them. Then he went to the restaurant and cashed in a deluxe set meal and ate with great satisfaction. Now that the problem of food and clothing is solved, the next problem is communication. In order to survive in the airport, you need to be able to speak the language. So he bought 2 books with the same content, one in English and one in their country's language. So he learned English by himself, sentence by sentence. After studying for a while and being exposed to it all day long, he was able to communicate with people by guessing. But just as he was getting used to life at the airport, trouble came. The airport supervisor saw him walking around the lobby in his pajamas, naked in the toilet, showering and sleeping in the terminal, obviously affecting the image of the airport. And the supervisor, who had worked hard for most of his life, had recently been given a promotion, so he couldn't allow anything to happen. So he came up with a plan to get rid of Victor. He told Victor that every day at 12 p.m. when the airport guards changed shifts, the gate would be unattended for 5 minutes. Obviously, he was imploring Victor to leave. Then as soon as Victor steps outside the airport gate, he arrests him for illegal entry. The rest was a matter for the police, not for him. What he didn't realize was that Victor was about to walk out of the airport when he suddenly stopped. Supervisor in the back of the monitor, anxious to keep shouting "Go off, quickly go off." It turned out that Victor sensed something wrong, how the side of the monitor is always following their own. After some thought, he realized it was a trap. So he shouted at the camera, "Recently learned the word, I will wait for it." The supervisor was furious and the next day he cut off Victor's business. The next day, he created a special position to collect carts, forcing Victor to once again subsist on Skittles. But that night, the tables were turned.